Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.
Notice your truck, first of all. You seem to be the quintessential Rocky Horror director.
That's probably an accurate statement, yeah. It's, I'm known for being more of a rock and roller and being a little on the edge, and I think that really fits the aesthetic of Rocky Horror quite well.
So let's start with you, the process of this production. How do you do it? Do you look at the script? Have you been involved in it before? How does it begin? Do you assess your talent? I mean, where does it all begin?
Well, it begins with reading the script. It always does. I got the script almost 6 months ago. Read it extensively, read up on the history behind Rocky Horror, about Richard O'Brien and what he did. I also have a wonderful dramaturg that's a student here at the college that does research for me and that has given me lots of inside information on how this all began and where it started. And from there, I then figure out who I think I'm going to need, how I can stage the show, how the show gets designed, how I want to talk to the lighting designers and the sound designer and the costume designer, you know, and get their ideas, you know, and make it all into this beautiful piece of theater. So it's been, I mean, it's been a 6-month process.
And here we go. One of the great things about this show is not only do the actors feel like they're in solitary confinement for a moment, but they're able to come out on stage in the middle of the stage. So, John, tell us a little bit about how you incorporate this feature in your show.
Well, the traps get used several times in the show. One, they are the prison for Eddie, which will be very obvious to the audience. But they also are places where some of our crazier phantoms come out of, as well as where things are stolen through the cracks by other phantoms.
So the audience is able to see all this. Is it difficult to coordinate the opening and the closing of the doors?
It is. It was actually choreographed in the music so that it happens at the exact right time. The other advantage of having these traps be mesh like this is that we will use both smoke and lighting effects out of them as well. So they serve a lot of purposes that way.
Great. One of the awesome features of the theater here and one of the awesome features of the show. You literally were hands-on with the set design because this is what you do.
Correct. Scene design is one of the things that I love, and also as the director of technical theater here at the college, it's my responsibility to execute the designs, whether they're mine or somebody else's. So I had a lot of very interesting meetings with myself about the set as the TD, the director, and the designer. We would often go out and have coffee. And we came up with wanting this clean, strong feel of steel. So using a combination of custom-built welded steel platforms and railings suspended on very substantial steel legs, everything attached to both the floor and the walls, gives the cast this huge playground to work on. They use every inch of it. They use the, you know, between the legs and the platforms and dangling off railings. I mean, it's used a lot in the show. And that goes actually with the whole theater. We've incorporated the whole theater into that design and using every inch of it. So.
Now, John, one of the great props for the Rocky Horror Show is this elevator that you literally built yourself. How difficult was that?
Actually, it's a surprisingly easy piece of equipment to build if you know how to weld and are familiar with steel, as some of you know I am, and really just figuring out the dimensions that would work for Rocky, or actually for Frank, and getting it to work at the speed and safety we wanted was probably the bigger engineering challenge.
All right, I'm going to get in this thing and I'm going to take it up with your assistance, but obviously the main character will be coming down. But why was it imperative to make an elevator in this show?
Everybody knows the show. Everybody knows that entrance into Sweet Transvestite, and to not have that for this show, I think they would have thrown things at me. I think it would have been horrible. So really from the very beginning, the very earliest sketches had the elevator as part of it, and it was always sort of the central part of all the design work I did for this show. So here we have it.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a pretty smooth ride, and it's going to be one grand entrance on opening night. The movie came out, was it in the 70s?
76.
76. I assume the storyline is relatively the same for the stage production. Can current kids, adults, is it still relatable? Is the story still relatable?
Oh, absolutely. It hasn't changed. We still watch B-movie science fiction. We still are confused about who we are on the planet or in the universe. We still love to dance. We still love to sing. We want to see the heroes win. We want to see the bad guys lose. So the story remains universal. And it may be even more relevant now than it used to be with how we're seeing the change in the genders that this musical talked about in the 70s. It now seems totally relevant.